We spent more than 240 plus hours in the makeup chair. Incredible.
Crazy.
Obviously, this is such a beloved novel, House of the Spirits. Just to kick off, I wanted to know, either of you have a book that you would love to see adapted into a TV show or a film?
Yes. In Spanish, it's called Los Detectives Salvajes from Bolaño. I don't know how you translate it, The Wild Detectives from Bolaño, which is an incredible writer. And also, there is I love Enrique Serna, Mexican writer, El Vendedor del Silencio. Incredible novel. If you have the possibility of reading it, incredible. It's like the story of a journalist in the 1950s, 60s. It's very interesting.
I don't read novels as much, so most of the things that I read are essays, and essays are a little hard to adapt. But my childhood trilogy of books are called Memorias de Idún, and they're beautiful, and I think they would make amazing live action movies or TV show or something. Also, this book called Through the Glass, it's about ballerinas. Well, a ballerina and an abuse she had when she was in school. I think that would be amazing. And my favorite book is Women That Run with the Wolves. Which is an amazing book, but very hard. But I think it has a lot of short stories. So maybe one of the little stories that it tells, it's mythology, and so it's maybe a little bit more complicated, but I think that would be amazing to try.
The next question about House of the Spirits is that it's a very Latin American story, and I'm curious to know, what do you think the rest of the world can learn from this specific Latin American story?
Yes, it's very Latin American, but at the same time, it's very relevant nowadays. I think I'll give you an example. It presents a very polarized society, like a few decades ago when the novel was written. And the show also presents a very polarized society in the 1970s, in the 1960s. But it is interesting because that is also happening nowadays. Not just in Latin America, but also all over the world. I think that right now we've been so lost between lefts and rights, but what happened with up and down? So I think, in a certain way, that is going to impact not just the region, but also in many other parts of the world.
Yeah, it talks about love and family and generational trauma and so many things that I feel like everyone can kind of relate to in some way, and I hope that at least people watch it and kind of reflect on how it was written so long ago, and it talks about a moment in time that's so specific, but if you kind of watch it with a perspective of what's going on in the world right now and how we are living as a society, I feel like it can be a very big mirror. I really hope that's the message that people go into it and go out of it when they watch it. Love is also a very big theme, and healing. I think you can relate to a lot of things. It doesn't really matter where we are. We're all human. So.
Exactly.
That's excellently put. And Nicole, actually, I want to ask, was there something you learned in filming, the Culpables trilogy that you would then bring into this piece of work, like some experience that you kind of held on to that kind of shaped your approach to the House of the Spirits?
Yeah, so many. I mean, I feel like as an actor, I learned so much about leading a trilogy and being there. It was a very different kind of film set because in House of Spirits, it's such a choral show, and there's so many actors and I think that's such an important part of the story. It was something that I had to learn to kind of just be there for so many days without having to kind of film and support other people, and I think having a base of working on the trilogies made everything obviously easier. What I took from the Culpables trilogy is also being in a project for so much time. The motivation and the creative inspiredness that I felt when I finished to go into another project and go into another character was so big that I think it made all of the work very, very easy for me because I was so happy to dive into it.
I see. And with Clara as well as a character in House of the Spirits, she was obviously previously played by Meryl Streep in the 1993 film. Now, obviously, Meryl Streep, acting icon. Did you find yourself looking back at her performance in that version for sort of any inspiration?
I did. I mean, just out of just curiosity, because I love Meryl and I watch everything that she does, and she's a huge, huge inspiration and guide for me in my career. out of an honor to be able to go into the same shoes that she did and want to watch what she did and what she chose to take from this character. I did see it. I think there are very different Claras, just because they're very two different contexts, obviously. Being in Chile makes a whole different thing, and speaking in Spanish does another whole different thing. And I think Meryl's Clara is very much more magical Clara, and she's very like in the, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like my Clara, at least in my time frame that I played her, I tried to ground her as much as I could and make her feel like an actual human being, because I feel like when you read the book, she kind of feels like this magical just presence all the time. So I really wanted to make her as human and grounded as possible, but not losing what Meryl did so amazingly. It's a huge honor.
Okay, fantastic.
And pressure.
With Clara and Alfonso, with Esteban as well, what's something that you learned from your characters that perhaps you took away from this experience?
Esteban, through the whole story, he does so many atrocities. So first, trying not to judge him, trying not to judge him, empathize with him, and understand where does that come from. And also, it's the first time that I have the possibility of being part of such a big arc, because I had the possibility of playing Esteban through his youth all the way to his death. So there were many challenges, like the voice, the corporality, prosthetics. We were with the makeup artists, we were making some maths when we finished the project, and we spent more than 240 plus hours in the makeup chair. I learned so much about patience, and there were times where, I mean, when you're talking about 240 plus hours in the makeup chair, I just put the two pictures of my kids in the mirror, and I just tried to stay calm. But it was an incredible journey. It was such an incredible journey, and I would repeat it over and over again because I loved it so much.
Before we started filming, the female cast and our director and our showrunner, we opened the Akashic records of the show. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's very interesting. And we all kind of got a message from our characters, and we all had like this huge therapy group session, which was amazing. But I think with Clara, when you read the book, and I'm a very I grew up very feminist, and I you know, I think it's a piece of work that you see and you read, and it's like very much, okay, he's a bad guy and she's doing that, and you can judge it very easily from there. And before filming, we did this, and the message that I got was to learn to forgive, which was something that I wasn't expecting at all. And I think it's such an important part of Clara's character and of her story. And sometimes that to survive, you have to forgive. I think it's such an important part that with her story with Esteban, to kind of also understand that Esteban comes from a place and also is part of this patriarchal society, and he hasn't ever known better, and he wasn't educated in any other way. And I think the most beautiful part of Clara's character is her ability and her openness to kind of just love everything and everyone and understand everything and everyone, and not for that excuse anyone's actions, but yes, to kind of accept everyone's role in that moment in time and fate, and let everything unravel as it should. So I learned a lot about forgiveness. I learned a lot about also judgment. And I also learned a lot about myself in spiritually, that I am also a very spiritual person, and I've always been. But I think connecting with Clara kind of opened the space to do that without also judging myself. So yeah, a lot of very beautiful things.
It's fantastic. It's making me want to just dive back into the show straight away right now and just enjoy it again, because the details now are just, it's fantastic. The show obviously looks fantastic because it's shot in Chile, right? It was obviously set in Chile, but it's filmed on location there. I've been to Chile. I love Chile. What was that like filming on location in Chile itself?
Incredible.
Crazy.
We had the possibility of shooting in Pucón, which is like the south part of Chile, which is an incredible contrast going into the north when we were shooting like the episodes where Esteban goes into the desert, which is Copiapó, then shooting also in Santiago. It creates a very specific and very interesting aura because, as Isabel Allende said, she imagined this show being shot in Chile with actors that speak Spanish. And this takes me to a story that I already shared. I was doing a therapy session. I was doing a show in the States a long time ago. I was doing therapy with an American therapist, and we were talking about a very specific thing, and she said, stop. That thing that you just said, you have to say it in Spanish. I asked her why. She said, because when you speak in your native tongue, it resonates even more. It creates a deeper echo. And I think this happens with House of Spirits. I think that being done in Chile, in Spanish, it creates a deeper and strongest echo.
I mean, Chile also is so layered and it has so many different things, like from the desert to the Patagonia, like it has so much variety. Also, we had an amazing DP, Manuel Caro.
Yeah.
He's one of the best, and he's Chilean, and he hadn't ever filmed in Chile, which I think is also so special.
Yeah.
And an amazing team, like the art, everything is so detailed, and everyone puts so much just love and time into every detail.
It's interesting when you were talking about Manuel Claro, because he's a DP that he's based in Norway and in Sweden, and then him coming back to Chile, like it creates a very interesting, like he was amazed about his country.
Yeah.
Like his view was incredibly interesting, no crees?
Guys, that's all the time I have with questions, but thank you so much. It's been great talking to you. I love the passion you have for this project. It's so infectious. Like I said, I just want to dive in and watch the show again. So congratulations again. It's great talking to you.
Gracias.
Well, you can in April. Bye. Thank you.